This is the 19th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, X-Zone Lures, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, Spro, Gamakatsu, Big Bite Baits, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. Really cool show today. A lot of opportunity for potential Bassmaster Opens anglers in 2024. We're getting into that. There are two major tournaments going on right now that we have to talk about. First and foremost, I believe we had a wire-to-wire winner out in the desert on Lake Mojave, Kyle Grover. 56.75. He goes 20 pounds, 19 pounds, 16 and a half pounds. Total weight of 56 3/4 pounds to take the One Bass U.S. Open, the 41st edition of the U.S. Open. So congratulations to Kyle Grover, a very interesting fishery out there. We've had numerous guests on to talk about that, most notably Josh Bertrand, who won in 2022. He ended up finishing the event in 13th. Some other notable names up at the top. Bryant Smith, coming off of a very strong rookie season on the Bassmaster Elite Series, finished third in that. Spencer Shuffield was fourth. Chris Zaldain, sixth. West Coast and U.S. Open legend Roy Hawk finishing in seventh. Josh Bertrand, like I said, in 13th. Gary Klaus, Phoenix Boats owner, in 21st, followed by Kevin Short in 22nd, former Elite Series, I think a 2 or 3-time Elite Series winner there. And then current Angler of the Year on the BPT, Matt Becker in 23rd, and Cliff Perch in 24th. I could go on. The list of names is crazy on that, but a lot of big names up there at the top. Smallmouth dominated, a couple big largemouth. We'll do what we can. Like I said, when I learned about it, Kyle Grover, a legendary angler out on family, I guess, out on the West Coast, will do what I can to get Kyle on an upcoming episode of BTL. Over on the bass side, day 2, a little froggy yesterday, I think, for the start of the Bass Nation Championship, kind of the last iteration of the Bass Nation Championship as we know it, with the top angler from each state competing in a grassroots level. Top 3 go to the Bassmaster Classic on Grand in March, and the top angler who wins this event punches his ticket to the 2024 Bassmaster Elite Series. But Will Davis, I know, is in second, looking to defend the title. And it's been a while since we've had a title defense. I don't know if there's ever been a title defense in the Bass Nation Championship. So you can follow that over on the Bassmaster site. But I've teased this for the last week. I never really got clarity on what I could or couldn't talk about. So I was kind of, I think the word I'm looking for is ambiguous about it. I was kind of a little sneaky about it, but 3 programs that were just announced today via press releases. The first one is near and dear to my heart, and that is none other than the return of the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp. If you remember, well, we'll bring in the guy who's kind of responsible for this. That would be none other than AFTCO President Casey SHEDD. Casey, thanks for jumping on BTL this morning.
Hey, Panger, excited to be here.
That it's like early for you, isn't it? Like 6:30 out there in the.
Yep. 6:30.
What do we call that? The board shed? Where?
It's the garage. I'm just in my garage at home.
Okay. Is that board on the top, the light blue one with the orange stripe? Is that the one that you valiantly attempted to teach me?
That's Panger's board right there. That's the Matthew Panger right there.
Yeah. So
that's the one we used.
Yeah. I attempted surfing. I like to try everything once. I wish I had not been in my late 30s the first time I attempted it, because things hurt for the next week afterwards. But I was out in, when was that? August?
Yeah, August, September, sometime.
August, out in California. And Casey was like, dude, like, let's do an early morning surf session. And I was like, absolutely not. Because I had just been to some boardwalk that had like famous surfers on it, and like they were paddling out. Where was that? Where I was on the boardwalk.
You were in San Clemente. You were in my town. I think.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd watch it and I was like, dude, like that would be like never having fished before and launching in an open. Like you're just in everybody's way and it would just be, and you're like, no, dude, I'll take you to the beginner's beach. And it was the beginner's beach and I looked like a beginner.
It was like Doheny. This is for anyone from Southern California. Doheny's like the Zepco of reels. It's the, it's where I learned to surf. It's where my kids learned to surf. It's a great beginner spot. And you did wonderful, Panger. You did a good job kind of figuring it out. It's not like fishing where you can just kind of pick it up your first time. It's one of those things where you are a lot better off learning young. And if you want to learn older, it takes some time.
I mean, it's kind of been ingrained into your life in Southern California. Like you started surfing as a young, weren't you like a surf bum for a couple of years too, where you literally like traveled around the world and just tried to catch the best waves?
Kind of. I spent a season in Costa Rica working on boats. And then my day off, though, I would go surf.
Okay, that was it.
I would schedule that up. And then I spent, then I took a month after that and traveled that coastline and surfed. And then I spent a 4 months in Southeast Asia backpacking, but I kind of was, went to the Mentawais and took a boat trip there and then spent a month in Bali surfing. And so, yeah, I was trying to, I had known that I would come to work at AFTCO, God willing, for my whole life. And so I was trying to get that stuff out of my system post-college. And I think I did a fairly good job of it.
So in surfing, and I should have asked this to Todd Klein when I had him on, because he's out there in your neck of the woods. He had a good U.S. Open as well, and he's kind of involved in the pro surfing.
Oh yeah, he's a phenomenal surfer, a significantly better surfer than I, and very involved in that world. And he'd be the guy to ask a lot of that too.
Yeah. Well, here's my question to you. So like in fishing, right? Like I have 11 pounds, 4 ounces, caught it out of Arbuckle, bed fish. Is there like a wave for the surfers? Like, do you have specific like waves or moments like that kind of stand out to you? Like that was the best wave of your life?
Yeah, you definitely have that for sure.
What's your best wave of your life?
Two of them. One of them was in Monopolo in the on the Osa Peninsula in Costa Rica, and it's just like this this fun little random right hand break when it was me out with 2 other guys I worked with, and I was just kind of getting back into surfing and getting things dialed in, and had caught in kind of the perfect right. I'm regular footed, so I like to go right when I can, and gotten all the right turns in, and just kind of looked around, and there was monkeys up in the trees and birds flying around. And it was the 2 boys that I'd kind of become friends with. And so it was, partly about the wave, but it was just, I just have this vivid memory of being there in that lineup, kind of the sun beating down on you, doing, feeling like I surfed proper for once, and then kind of just being there with your friends and the rest of it. It's I'm not a tournament surfer. Mm-hmm. So it's more about probably what fishing is for a lot of folks, just the experience, who you're with, and some of those memories. So that's probably the one that I kind of, when I daydream or think back to, I have real specific memories of that.
It's got to be, because I have specific moments where I'm like riding. Usually it's like the end of a day of practice. It's gone well. I'm riding in at the sun setting. Everything's right. And you're like, man, I am where I'm supposed to be right now. I feel really confident. I'm fishing really good. And you just want those moments to last forever.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And then, you remember the first time you get barreled. You remember the first time you maybe do stuff. But that's the one that really, that one really sticks out of the feeling that's associated with that, which, I have the same things with fishing. I think guys have the same things hunting. I think folks that spend time outdoors have those experiences.
And it's cool. I mean, with what you do with President of AFTCO, and as much time as you spend both salt and fresh, and with what I do interviewing guys, we get to spend a lot of time around a lot of guys who are doing what they truly love and are kind of living out their dreams, which I think is a rare, kind of a rare treat. There's not that many people who get to look guys in the eyes on a daily basis that are doing what they've wanted to do since they were 10 years old.
You talk to so many. I live here in the suburbs in California, so the majority of my friends are selling software or, whatever. Mm-hmm. And most people hate their job, right? Like it's just a paycheck. It mostly sucks. It's pretty rare. I think you get a little jaded being in our industry because there's obviously lots of negatives to it, but it's not often that you get to be around so many people that are just literally doing what they love.
All right, let's talk about the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp because it's been 5 years since you've had this. I remember when it came out in 2018. It was kind of launched in coordination with AFTCO jumping into the freshwater market, primarily a saltwater company that has been in your family since the 70s. Your grandpa and your dad, both IGFA Hall of Famers. Congratulations to Bill, inducted just last year. But then your grandpa as well. But then was it 17 or 18 that AFTCO made the push kind of into the freshwater market?
Yeah, it's a kind of a cool story. So you set up the background totally right. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know Guy Harvey, the marine artist?
Yeah, 100%. Everyone had the T-shirts. It was like kind of the trendy thing with the artistic T-shirts.
He's
the autograph with like the long kind of
Guy Harvey signature on the plot. He's the most wonderful human ever. He's the most talented artist. So we had the privilege of picking up the license to do his apparel right when it was taken off. And so we were, distributing that to Bass Pro and Independence and the rest of it. And we built a, pretty bit of infrastructure, staff, marketing, sales folks. And so, probably the best thing ever was picking up that license. Well, the next best thing ever was getting fired from it. We had some kind of, just as those things go with licenses, they don't ever last forever. And so, instead of, at that time, that was 17, 18, we were trying to figure out what to do. We didn't want to lay the staff off. We didn't want to lose those connections. And so that's when we got into the bass fishing side of things. We met a mutual friend who is still a mutual friend of ours, Mike Bouster.
Yep.
He kind of helped guide us through that process. And, a number of the programs we came up with was, for one of the core tenets was, conservation is such an important part of our business. It means so much to us. How do we apply that to bass fishing? And maybe we can get into that more a little later, but also part of that was a number of sort of unique programs. One of those was the Bass Boot Camp.
And that was in 2018. Johnny Z, who has gone on to do a bunch of filming for Chris Zaldane, other companies, Elite Series Anglers, actually fished the Opens that year. And AFTCO, then it was kind of a follow your dream type deal where you pay for the entry fees to a AAA level event. He was fishing the Bassmaster Opens, I believe either 4 or 5 events that year. And then you covered the entry fees for him, gave him apparel, and then he kind of documented his journey along the way. And it was published on the AFTCO website, AFTCO.com, and then also on the AFTCO YouTube channel.
Yep. Yeah. And, it's, I'm a awful big believer in Bassmaster. I think it's a wonderful program. And this really helps kind of kill 2 birds, 1 stone for us. It's one is the idea is to help someone that's just getting started as a professional angler, because Penger, how dang expensive it is. And so to kind of be able to help provide some support in that part of the process. And then 2 is to provide a platform, both for them to be able to tell their story and maybe, kind of build who they are as a person. But then also for us, it, gives us some content. It's always hard to find, habitual content. And so we've got a specific bass or freshwater social channel and YouTube and the rest of it. So but yeah, that was the idea then, and still the idea now.
Yeah. So then I did it in 2019 and was selected as it. And like I said, it's definitely changed the course of my life. I mean, I would not have done it had I not been the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp. I'd never done any YouTube filming of myself. I ended up fishing 2 divisions of the Toyota series, which was the Costa series back then under FLW. Had a great experience, which led into the Bassmaster Opens, and then apparently scared you guys away from it because it's been 5 years since you've had it. But the newest release is that the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp is back for 2023.
Yep. Yeah. I don't even totally know why we took a break. Some of it, it's a lot of work, honestly, for on our end to kind of coordinate it. But we feel like we're at a good place to pick it back up now. And I honestly really excited about it. Really excited about we've had 2 wonderful folks in yourself and Johnny Z. And I'm sure that the 3rd guy will be, just as good in their own way.
So this is for And we're actually going to have Dave Rush from Outdoor Brands team to talk more about the details of this. But this is for Bassmaster Open EQ anglers or potential Bassmaster Open EQ anglers who are wanting to fish all 9 events. Now that is $16,200 in entry fees, and the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp will pay up to that $16,200, cover all of your entry fees for the entire year if you are selected as the 2024 AFTCO Bass Boot Camp angler.
Yep. Yep. And I think we're aligning the timing of it as well with the contingency program that.
Yep. And we've got, that's the second half of the show is the, we could say the name of it now, the Best on Tour Bucks, that also includes an AFTCO contingency, a possible $1,000 AFTCO contingency and Sunline contingency for each event. So there's $18,000 in free contingencies just for registering for free for that. But applications open October 15th. The deadline is December 31st. And then the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp recruit will be selected on January 17th. You can click on the link in the YouTube description of this show, or you can also just go to aftco.com and apply. That link is now open. I mean, you have to have your boat. You have to be a serious tournament angler who's wanting to do this. Like, this is not, I mean, none of that stuff is included. This is for that guy who believes he has what it takes, has a dream, has what AFTCO is looking for, could represent the brand well, but just needs that extra push to be able to say, okay, now this is economically feasible. Yeah,
a couple things. So you need to already be registered to fish the opens. So this isn't just for someone who's thinking about, maybe I want to fish.
Okay, you have to be registered.
Yep, you're going to have to be registered. Now you can apply now and register, but eventually we'll confirm with Bass, is this person already registered when we make the selection in January? So you've got to be registered to fish the opens, and you have to want to do video content. You have to want to edit, know that we're going to ask for, a video after each event. And so there is, there's some level of commitment to building the content. And it's for 2 reasons. One is we need it. We want to be able to use it on our end. And 2 is I think you need it. We want to be able to help you, build awareness for who you are. And so part of the exchange is that on both ends is that we're going to give you a platform to help tell your story.
What type of guys or gals are you looking for? I mean, you're the president of AFTCO, you know, kind of what the company stands for. We've talked a little bit about behind it, but like what stands out to you? What type of angler do you want representing AFTCO in 2024 as the boot camp recruit?
The nice thing about bass fishing is there's not a, or any fishing is, I don't really care in terms of like, there's not a mold, right? Like we would prefer it's someone who's just getting started, because I think that's a compelling part of the story in terms of, not folks that, which I know maybe there'll probably be a number of them that have fished other tours before that are coming back.
A crusty veteran with 30 years of experience.
I think part of the compelling part of the story is the journey of, how difficult this really is, and all that comes with that. And so I think, someone who this would be their first time making the elites or fishing at the top level on the top level of bass fishing. And then, we're a fairly family friendly, clean, wholesome brand. And so, comfortable aligning with that value system. And other than that, I don't care, in terms of, the rest of it is you've got to be willing to pick up a video camera. I think, Matt, you had this maybe not problem, but it's weird to film yourself.
Yeah.
Right. It's very uncomfortable. It's very strange, or it's a bit exposing. There's a lot of, but the reality is that in today's age, for most everyone, there's a few exceptions, but for most everyone, if you want to be a professional touring angler, you have to get comfortable with that part of the process. You have to get comfortable with the social media side. You have to get comfortable with the digital side. And, the guys that are really doing it well, most all those guys are still doing it themselves. The biggest names in bass fishing, it's not like you just go hire someone and they take care of all of it for you.
Yeah, even Polinick, Scott Martin, all those guys still very active in their own kind of editing, even though they have guys too, but they're all in on it as well.
For sure. And, they may have guys to do their full videos, but they're doing all their short content. They're doing the, like Swindle films an awful lot of content just in his truck or, just check-ins about his life. So, I mean, it's a reality for many individuals today to become a professional bass fisherman. And so this is a part of that process. And we have a very talented digital team back at the AFTCO staff, and we'd love to help you in that process. We'd love to share, what we know about what's worked for other anglers, help walk through some of the editing tricks, help talk through about, basically what we know about digital content. That's for us to share back to you. Matt Florentino, our marketing director, is very well versed in that. There's a number of other folks internally. And so, yeah, our hope is that, we can also help. You've got to have an interest and ability and a want to start, full stop. But we're there to help support and walk you through that as well.
Well said. Just a couple details on it. Like I said, this can be found at AFTCO.com. You can click on the link in the YouTube show here. It says to be eligible, simply fill out the form, produce a 5-minute video telling us why you should be the next Bass Boot Camp recruit. You have to be creative, unique, and yourself. Show us what sets you apart from the roster and why you should represent AFTCO throughout the 2024 BASS Opens Elite Qualifier Tournament season. Applicants must be registered to fish the 2024 Bass Opens EQ, which pre-registration for that starts the end of October and then kind of goes through November, just based on where you fished before, your standings, life membership, nation membership, bass, that type of stuff. Fish the 2024 Bass Opens EQ in their own boat and be able to film, edit, and create their own videos. Video and basic editing skills are a requirement. Be advised, the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp opportunity who has not previously... Okay. The AFTCO Bass Boot Camp opportunity is open to any registered BASS Open EQ angler who has not previously fished at the Bass Elite, MLF BPT, or FLW Tour level. So, yeah, you can't be
it's season pro basically is we're looking
season
for.
Pro.
Yep.
And then it's a super quick application. Talk about it, put your video in that you upload to YouTube, and you're on your way to being a AFTCO Bass Boot Camp recruit.
And I'd say to that end, Matt, and the question you asked earlier too is, be yourself, right? In terms of if you're, who we want is someone who's going to be themselves throughout the 20 minutes of video that you're going to produce every, after every tournament. And so whoever you are as a person, great. That's what we want. Come as that person, show us that person on camera, show us that on your 5-minute, on your 5-minute application, what makes you different, what makes you special. And, yeah.
I brought back some memories from 2019, Casey, because that first video I did was Amistad. And I was telling you this right before we went live, I caught 2 1-pound fish, 1.0s. And then I zeroed the second day. And I had a pre-tournament video, a day 1 video, a day 2 video, and a post video. And I remember sitting there editing it going, my God, how am I going to make this work? I just finished 109th and caught 2 1-pounders. This is just horribly embarrassing. But it was all part of the process, and I'm glad that I went through that experience to then capture, I think I had 3 fish that year that got me in a check or a top 10 in the last 5 minutes that were like wrapped around posts, and I was landing them, and it was chaos. The whole experience made me a better angler, helped with my filming, editing, and it's, like I said, it's all because of AFTCO. The only reason that I fished at that level that year and then transitioned to bass in 2020 and I'm still taking cracks at it.
There's nothing more exposing than bombing a tournament than bombing it like when you've documented and signed up to show it and like
it's so much more pressure.
Not only the results posted, you've also committed to having to send that off to a company and let them tell that story. But that's part of the process, and that's going to happen. And you did a wonderful job of capturing both the behind the scenes stuff and then also on the boat, and the actual tournament itself. And yeah, you were it was fun to watch your videos along the way, Matt, because you did an exceptional job with it.
And all those for both Johnny and myself are still available on the AFTCO YouTube channel under the Bass Boot Camp tab. You can go through and watch all those to kind of get an idea of what you're in for. Hopefully you figure out how to do it way better than I did it. Now there's a lot more technology available. I just had like a GoPro 6 just stuck right there and pretty much did everything off of that. But
yep, and AFTCO.com/bootcamp has the details to enter, and then also, like you're saying, also links to those old videos.
Exciting. Before I let you go, Casey, and like I said, I appreciate you getting up at 6:30. I do want to talk about, AFTCO has been a longtime partner with BTO, with Bass Talk Live. There's a lot of really good outdoor clothing companies that make a lot of really good clothes. One of the things that I'm really proud about, and being a part of the AFTCO team and the support of AFTCO with BTL and vice versa, is how genuine you guys are caring about the sport, the resources, and being stewards of that. And that's something that goes back generationally, like we kind of talked about with Mill, obviously with your dad, Bill, who basically that's what he does every single day. He wakes up now is advocate for fisheries, water, mainly saltwater stuff. But that's something that's continued with you, and that there are a number of programs built into AFTCO freshwater as well. Yeah.
It was started with my grandfather, and then, he essentially passed that charge down to my dad, and my dad took it seriously and spent.
There he is.
Yeah. There's the legend himself.
Look at how dapper he is. Sorry.
Yeah. My granddad actually was the co-founder of SeaWorld way back in the day, and we haven't been involved for 40 years. But, he in that process, what he had told my father was, this greatly benefited our family, and we have a responsibility to find ways to look for, this is how he said it, we have a responsibility to find ways to look for ways to do good things for the ocean. And so my dad took that seriously, and then has now passed that legacy on to his kids and to the rest of AFTCO. And so, that's where the 10% pledge came from. 10% of our profits annually go to different conservation groups. Dad, and then now myself, spent a growing, Dad really now full-time, but spent a significant amount of time on different conservation issues, CCA, got hatcheries set up in California, got long lines and gill nets banned off our coastline. But part of our challenge as we started in the bass fishing was, it's not as easy in bass fishing, where there's, with the ocean, there's a federal agency in NOAA that you can go through and clean a lot of stuff up through. With bass fishing, all the problems are so regionalized. And so we're still trying to figure that out today. But, there's been a couple of really unique programs. One of those is, the conservation grants we with Bass Nation every year. Built, I think we have one, and then another that we support, the live release boats that we send throughout the country. Have some pamphlets that we give out on, Bass Care 101 techniques, support, everything from, walleye tagging up north to lots of habitat projects. Different right now, we're involved in helping support a study on blotchy bass to just, the little leopard spots that come up on bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to decide
if tattoos.
Yeah. And they think it's kind of maybe seasonal, and they think it's a virus. They don't know. They don't think it's necessarily problematic, but they don't also understand. And so there's, I think.
You're not talking about the black patches, like the ones that look like Dalmatians. You're talking about like the kind of splotchy, like the rashes that they get sometimes.
No, the Dalmatian ones.
Okay. So I've always wanted to know what the hell that's from.
If you look up blotchy bass, the Dalmatian looking bass, sometimes you see it on their lip or on their body, or they think it's a virus, and they think that it peaks during certain months of the year and then kind of goes away. They don't necessarily, this is all very early, but there's actually a company out of Canada. There it is. Yep. Company out of Canada called Angler Atlas. That's trying to get individuals involved in documenting this process and then sending it back to, they call it citizen science, and there's actually a lot of it in, from fish tagging to this kind of thing of, the folks on the water are, it's kind of interesting because we run, and then I know you got to go, but we run into this.
No, we're good. Do we go as long as we want?
We run into this a number of times where, we have all these PhD scientists sitting down telling us something. And then you get a group of fishermen together. They're like, no, you're just wrong. I understand that your textbook says this and a laboratory says this, but you're just wrong. Like I've seen this, I've been on the water too many days personally interacting with this to know. And so there's times like that. And then there's times like, with this kind of study where anglers on the water can really scale the data collection side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so for folks to go out and to try to, zap a bunch of fish or do whatever to collective study them, it would cost, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, there's programs to be able to go, collect that data. So that's what this blotchy bass study is. But that's one real small component of of the many programs that we have really built into not just our DNA, but also, if you work at AFTCO, if you spend time volunteering for a conservation group, it's considered work hours and the rest of it. It's very much a part of our ethos.
That's well stated. The next time I'm out in California, you think there's any chance we could work in a BTL from the AFTCO headquarters?
Let's do it. We can do that for sure.
I haven't visited that yet. I hear it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Lots of history on the walls. Lots of, when we'll get into it when you come out, but big game fishing, the oldest fishing club in the world is in the Tuna Club in Avalon.
Really?
Yep. 3 former presidents, Ted Williams, Ernest Hemingway were all members. It's the most incredible, historic kind of little piece of fishing history. And there's, ourselves, Shimano, many others were in, Daiwas are currently in Southern California. There's lots of origins of big game fishing on our coastline. And so lots of that history on our walls. Yeah.
When I was down there a couple of months ago, it was the first time I'd really gotten to kind of explore that coastline. And I think LA, Southern California, Laguna Beach, OC, but man, you get around that coastline and you go down to some of the beach. It is a community that is based around the water, and there's a ton of fishing. There's a ton of like really cool fishing. Like when we were surfing, that dude was freaking catching.
He got a little short halibut.
He was catching halibut right off of the beach.
Yeah, I was there. I went back there the next week with my kid, and 2 guys were out in the kayak, and guy caught a legal halibut, and you get sea bass there. There's phenomenal fishing. It's fishing participation in California per capita is really low because there's lots of people do other things, but it's a phenomenal fishery, and particularly in the last 7 years, our offshore fishery has been. They call it the good old days. Like bluefin have showed up that were never here. They were here 100 years ago and they were gone, and they've showed up in 2015, I think. And it's a bit of the good old days currently in California for offshore fishery.
Well, like I said, I'm glad you were able to get me out on the water surfing. It kind of evened out things after I put you through 3 days of Damiki rigging on Table Rock a couple years ago.
It was punishment for, I really enjoy fishing, and I like to catch them, but Damiki rigging for 3 days straight is not is not what I would sign up for. I understand you do it to win a tournament, but it was not my favorite. And I kind of struggled with it,
In all fairness, I said, do you want to have fun or do you want to try to win? And you said, we're going for the win.
You set me up for it. But it was neat to watch you do it because there is I know there's a lot of forward facing conversation going on, but like there's a skill to it, man. Like, we would, you would track down the fish and kind of know which ones maybe we're going to eat and which way they're headed. And I would cast at the same fish and just miss it. Just couldn't. It was fun for me to do it side by side with you, both front decking, and me kind of struggle at it, and you have a lot of success. It was helpful for my understanding of the forward-facing sonar deal.
2 things from that I liked about that trip. One, I've never actually seen you like jacked up, like really pumped up, and when you grab that 6-pounder, you let out like a war cry.
Oh yeah, I was stoked.
That was fun. And then the other thing that I liked was all the guys it was kind of like an employee deal. You beat all the guys who like fish hardcore bass fish in the skills competition. At the start of that thing, you just smoked everybody.
That was there was all those guys are better bass fishermen than I am. So that made me awfully proud to beat them in the quasi skill. It was like, it's like a fake bow and arrow, and it was, not
casting accuracy,
casting accuracy, the rest. Yeah, that I wore that one proudly.
It is. Anything else that I'm forgetting out here before we get Dave Rush on to talk about the best on tour bucks that also includes AFTCO? I know it's a work week for you, and like I said, you're in the in the surf shed and probably have to go in and take care of some business today.
Yeah, no, that's it. I just thank you for the opportunity to use, to use this time to talk about our boot camp. Thanks for having, kind of paving the way with it. And, been fun for me, Matt, watching you kind of grow into your own on the Bass Talk Live and taking off in anything we want to talk about. Now it's just a bass fishing show and the rest of it's been really cool I was sitting here on the sidelines, you sit in the waiting room, kind of fired up and jacked up watching the intros and you do your thing. And just neat to kind of watch it all come together. And thanks for the opportunity here.
Thank you. This is Casey SHEDD, president of AFTCO. Sign up for the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp if you are fishing the 2024 Bassmaster Open. It's really cool opportunity. Thanks, Casey.
All right. See ya.
See ya. All right. That was Casey SHEDD. We are going to take a break. When we come back, kind of the second half of the show, the second half of opportunities for 2024 Open Anglers, the Best on Tour Bucks. That press release just dropped this morning, and we will talk to Dave Rush from Best on Tour. This is BTL on a Thursday, October 19th, and we'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top one on Strike King.
All right, guys, if you're a construction worker, soccer dad, soccer mom, you want to be outdoors, you've seen the Reaper. This right here is the zip-up full Reaper, but it's windproof, folks, windproof. And it actually has the mast built in. It's behind me. I mean, if you can look good, feel good, and stay warm, you better check it out. It's the zip-up Reaper. That's right, windproof.
Shoreline Boat and RV, dock rash, storm damage, collision repair, that deep scratch or gouge from trying to access that secret creek. Shoreline Boat and RV can get your prized possession back in mint condition and looking good on the water, fast. All repairs are done in-house, so they're able to get your boat or RV back to brand new, quickly. All Shoreline's work comes with a rock-solid warranty. Find out more at ShorelineBoatandRV.com, Kansas City, Austin, and Tulsa.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
Welcome back, BTL on a Thursday. All right, let's get back to our second half of the show following Casey SHEDD, and that is none other than regular BTL contributor Dave Rush. Casey,
what's happening, man?
What's up, Dave? How are you?
you?
Good. Thanks for jumping on. Big news coming out of the Best on Tour camp. Obviously, they are been my title sponsor for the last 3 years, so keeping up to tabs on that weekly free newsletter direct to your inbox. If you're not signed up for that, simply go to bestontour.net to get subscribed. But kind of along the lines of the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp, giving an angler the opportunity to fish entry fee free in 2024, Best on Tour, along with AFTCO and Sunline, has rolled out a pretty juicy contingency program for Bassmaster Open anglers.
Yeah, Matt, it's something we're really proud of. To see where this weekly newsletter has come, just kind of from a conception to now being able to provide some contingency programs for Bassmaster Open EQs anglers is something that, we're really proud of.
Talk a little bit about what it is, what it includes, what the Best on Tour bucks will be in 2024, because this is a brand new contingency program, and if there's 230 in that tournament, it's open to 230.
It is open to 230. I think the biggest thing to start it off with is this is a completely free contingency plan. You do not have to pay to be a member of this. Simply go to bestontour.net/contingency. Matt will have the links here on the show, and sign up is completely free. You sign up for one or both of the contingency programs, which are put on by Sunline and AFTCO. You'll receive a kind of a starter kit from each company, some swag, and also a discount code from each company that you can use, for some online or, orders to get your gear straight for the season. And the highest finishing qualifier, Opens EQ qualifier, that signed up for the programs will receive $1,000 at each event.
Each tournament. So you have the potential if you're the highest, if you're registered and you're the highest finishing Sunline, contingency, and AFTCO, that's an additional $2,000. And then you go back in, you re-sign up for the next one, and you can do it for all 9. Now, is this boaters, or does this qualify for co-anglers too?
So at present time, it's boaters.
Okay.
You have to be signed up for all 9 Opens EQs, and it is $1,000 per brand, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
Do not have to sign up for both brands. If you have some affiliations or some reasons, you don't want to sign up for both brands, that's perfectly fine. You can sign up for one or the other or both. $9,000 from Sunline, $9,000 from AFTCO, paid out at each event. You do not have to win the event. You just have to be the top finisher that is signed up for the Best on Tour Bucks contingency program for either AFTCO or Sunline.
So there's literally no catch here. This is basically a promotional thing for AFTCO and Sunline. You don't have to you're not fishing for anybody else's money. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, it's something that, obviously you just had Casey on it, and, they're given opportunities to the Opens EQs anglers as far as the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp. It's something we feel really strongly about, supporting these guys. We know how expensive it is to be out there. Obviously, this is just a way to kind of give back to the community, give back to bass fishing in general. We're starting here. This is a program we hope to expand in the future, based on the success of it this season. Hopefully we get a lot of signups, but we just thought, man, let's just try to give back $1,000, from each brand for each event, highest finisher. And, we really want to support those anglers that are supporting the brands that have supported us. And it was a great platform and a great opportunity for our partners at Sunline and AFTCO to give Best on Tour the ability to kind of host the Best on Tour Bucks contingency program, and it be the platform that lives on. And we're really honored to be the host of that contingency program.
Yeah, along the lines of that, Casey did a really good job of talking about the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp back for a third year after a little bit of hiatus since 2019.
Right.
You're very familiar with that. That. Kind of go a little bit more in depth. If you're an angler who's fishing all 9 and you're like, dude, this is right up my freaking alley, kind of give a little bit more in depth as to that program and kind of what you feel anglers should really kind of focus on kind of shooting. I guess it's a contest, trying to win that contest, right. I guess.
Yeah, I think, Casey kind of hit some of it on the head, and just telling anglers to be themselves. Mm-hmm. Be yourself, don't try to be something you're not, kind of put on airs or kind of put on a persona, because over that, season, it's going to come out, exactly the highs and lows, like you said. So might as well start from the beginning, just kind of being real about the whole process. Another thing I think, anglers do need to understand is it's a commitment, as you well know,
Yeah.
This is serious business. You have to be committed to not only be prepared for tournaments, fish the tournaments, but also be prepared to film, make sure all your equipment is, working as far as that goes, and be able to edit and also have a pretty quick turnaround so the content can be relevant and, timeful. So that's what I would kind of, stress to people. It is a commitment, but it's a great opportunity. I mean, think about this. If you signed up for the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp, program, they pay your opens entry fees. You sign up for the best on tour bucks. You have some high finishes there. That's a lot of money.
And anybody can sign up for the best on tour bucks,
Yes.
like Gerald Swindle, me, not comparing, but I'm just saying it doesn't matter where you've been, what your level is, as long as you're fishing as a boater in the opens, you can sign up for those too.
Yeah, we would have to clarify, on the levels of anglers that could sign up for it. I'm not 100% certain,
Okay.
whether we're going to allow, elite series, or BPT pros.
I should have probably cleared that before I brought it up. My bad.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, yeah, and it's not affiliated necessarily. You do not have to be a contestant in the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp sign up to be in the best on tour bucks contingency program for AFTCO and Sunline. You do have to fish all 9 opens. You do have to prove that you're registered for all 9. You're going to compete in all 9, and then it's very easy to sign up. It gives you an option of signing up for either one or both. Ask for a little bit of information. You'll receive a confirmation email, and the kind of swag packs will go out early 2024. You'll have your codes. You can, get your line, your gear for the season, and, basically just go about your business and hopefully have some high finishes and take some of our money.
Yeah. I mean, this makes every single angler, if you're not currently sponsored by a competing clothing or line brand, should be registered for this.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't see, why you wouldn't do it. Both companies make great products, and they're giving away a lot of money. I mean, it's really a no-brainer in my opinion.
All right. Anything we want to get in here, because you do run best on tour, and there is a bunch of stuff going on in the industry from the West Coast to the East Coast to the North to the South. I mean, I can't let you go without talking about that, Dave.
Yeah, it's been a busy week all the way around. Still time to receive Best on Tour in your inbox this morning. Comes out in about 45 minutes here. So if you want to go to bestontour.net, you can subscribe for free. It's a weekly newsletter. It will come out every Thursday morning. New issue comes out today. We touch on a few of the announcements, the BPT announcements, Kyle Grover's U.S. Open win, a few other cool things in this week's issue.
You did mention Kyle Grover's win. You have covered how many U.S. Opens? 8, 9, 10?
I think it was 10. I think we did, Jeffries and I did 10 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken. And the first COVID year was the year that we did not go out and do the live stream. Yeah.
Explain to the viewers what, especially out on that West Coast with the West Coast angler, the top 3 anglers, Patrick Toohey and then Bryant Smith, how big of a deal that is for the career, for the win, we'll go Ric Flair on a prestige and honor and glory to win that sucker.
Yeah, I think the best way for me to explain it is the first year or two that we went out there, it was really eye-opening to see just kind of, I had obviously followed bass fishing from a very young age, had read about a lot of these West Coast legends and had heard about the U.S. Open, had heard, Rick Clunn talk about it and different guys that, came from the Midwest and back East to compete in the U.S. Open, and how big of a tournament it was out there and what it meant to those guys. But to actually get out there and hear those guys, there were, tons of anglers that you would talk to. And the best way to put it is, that is their Bassmaster Classic. That, you talk to some of those guys that grew up fishing out West, it's obviously they would probably love to win a classic, but winning a U.S. Open as far as respect from their peers, West Coast anglers, that's as high as it gets. Those guys are totally invested in that tournament. They think about it all year. They prepare for it all year. I think it, used to be, a lot different to prepare for it when it was, in the middle of July on Lake Mead and the heat. And, we've heard all the horror stories about how taxing it is, but, they've had to move it over to Mojave for, the water issues at Lake Mead, but it's still the U.S. Open.
Yeah, it's still tough. Like Matt Shura finished in 38th, and he had a 3-day total of 30.19, so 10 pounds a day. And you're talking 185, 190 competitors, and he's still in the top 40 with 10 pounds a day.
It's still a tough tournament. The amount of practice that those fisheries endure over the week, and they all say by day 3 it gets really, really tough, even on a fishery like Mojave. You had Josh Bertrand on. He was the champion last year, and I think the consensus on Mojave is it has some really quality fish in it, but not maybe a huge bass population. A little different than Mead as far as not the big runs, and you don't hear about the narrows and the giant winds and kind of the lore of Lake Mead. But like I said, it's still the U.S. Open, and it's something. If you read Dan O'Sullivan's article from last night, Kyle Grover, it's just something, that guy just grew up really, really wanting that championship, and he's got one now. And I mean, he was a guy that, he was always kind of in the mix when we were out there. So it's not surprising to see him, win one of those.
It is a new Bass Cat, brand new Bass Cat. I believe Rick Pierce is out there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's
to present the Bass Cat, as well as 50, 60, like a bunch of cash too, like 150 grand.
That's one of the things we have in this week's issue. It was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was $156,000
on a $1,600 entry fee.
Yeah, you would know better than me. I think you fished on that.
Well, I fished as a AAA, and it was like $500 or something like that. I think it's like
you made that work pretty well.
Yeah, my whole goal, I want to go out and fish one from the front of the boat. Like, that's my dream, is to do it. It's literally just a matter of scheduling with the last 5 years with the Bassmaster Opens. Well, obviously then in 19, I was AFTCO Bass Boot Camp. There's one on Lake of the Ozarks on top of it. So I haven't been able to go out there since then. So
yeah, pretty cool though, man, to see some. I mean, Byron Velvick was back this year. Some of the legendary guys are stepping back in and fishing. Big inductions there to the One Bass Hall of Fame. Posthumously, Aaron Martin's inducted. His mom was out there to kind of accept the award, and some really cool stuff happened out there.
All right, anything else, Dave?
No, man. I mean, we really appreciate the opportunity for Best on Tour to kind of be the host of this contingency program for AFTCO and Sunline. Once again, I mean, it's totally free, guys. You go sign up. You just have to be a Bassmaster Open EQ angler that's going to compete in all 9 events. Simple, easy. Get a swag pack, a discount code to buy your gear and your line, and the opportunity to win $1,000 per brand per event. So $9,000 from Sunline, $9,000 from AFTCO, and come take our money. We want to see what happens.
And then I also think there might be some cool opportunities there with the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp angler to have him on BTL throughout the year to kind of break down how things are going too, similar to what we did with Ben Milliken this past year.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp thing is something that it's a great opportunity. And I think one thing that, you and Casey touched on a little bit is, filming yourself throughout every event, through the highs, the lows. You learn a lot about how you fish, the mistakes you made, the success you've had. I remember you talked about going back and almost watching it like game footage while you're editing and not really knowing that's what you were doing, but saying, man, I noticed, in this day that I didn't do well, I was really fishing a lot faster. And I thought I was fishing slow, but I was really fishing a lot faster than I thought I would be. So I think it's a great, not only financial opportunity for a guy to have his Opens entry fees completely paid, but also, an opportunity to learn. I would suggest, hey, even if you don't get chosen for the AFTCO Boot Camp, AFTCO Bass Boot Camp this year, I mean, kind of go through the motions, kind of fish like you were chosen. Maybe film some videos, start a YouTube channel, because I mean, that is one of the biggest things that these brands are looking for. I mean, Casey couldn't have said it, any clearer. They need content. They want content. I mean, brands do a great job at creating their own content, but organic content coming from anglers, and specifically anglers who are on the way up, that your average, weekend guys can relate to, is golden right now.
One of the things I always remember looking back on is I would be like, how did I get in that pickle? Man, I still do. I don't do as much of the publishing of the filming as I used to over the last year and a half, which I probably need to return to next year. But it is kind of a grind. But is how many bites I get when I'm screwing around, like not paying attention, taking off a jacket, messing with a graph, looking at a bird, looking at a duck, messing with my rods on the front deck. Like I was shocked at how many times I was like not fully engaged when I got a bite. And I just remember thinking like, okay, that is something that I need to step my game up on, that I've become consciously aware just from watching the game footage.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of birds, I'd be remiss if we didn't, give a shout out there to Brett Height. How
about that? Did he have good? Do you have any updates on him?
He posted a social media video. For those of you guys that don't know, Brett was at the U.S. Open running down the lake and was hit by a fairly sizable bird, had some in his head, had some eye damage, and was really shook up, had to go to the hospital. But he posted an update last night, said he was on the mend. It wasn't, as bad as maybe they thought it was going to be. So looks like some rest and relaxation for Mr. Height there. And we're glad everything turned out okay. And hopefully he gets on the mend soon.
Timothy Dube, D-U-B-E. Is that Doobie or Dube? I'm letting you pick that one.
I wasn't sure. Look like all spotted bass.
Yeah, you're a Carolina guy, very familiar with Lake Hartwell. We're halfway through the Bass Nation Championship. You got Will Davis Jr. Just a couple ounces behind in second. Any thoughts on how that's going to go down? I mean, it looks like Hartwell has turned into a juggernaut for those 3 to 4 pound spotted bass, it seems. And the largemouth, although you can freak show them, man, the spots are where the money's made now. And that seems like it's like a 4-year kind of flip.
Yeah, interestingly, enough, you and I were talking off air, a few days ago about the Palmetto Boat Center Trail had a championship there, 3-day $50,000 deal, and I followed that pretty closely as well. Obviously a lot of locals in that one. A lot more largemouth show up when the locals fish. Just seems like it could be timing or whatever the case is, but it just seems like those guys are a little bit more dialed in on the largemouth. Looking through the gallery and the weights yesterday, looked like it was pretty much a spotted bass deal. I would expect more of the same today. Wild card is we've got a weather system moving through on Friday. Going to be some storms, some clouds, rain, wind, pretty quick moving system, but extremely breezy. Wouldn't be surprised to see Friday something flip up and some of those largemouth show up if they're able to get them out there and fish.
All right, Dave, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for coming on to talk about the Best on Tour Bucks, bestontour.net. Link is there. Link is also in the description of the show on YouTube. Applicable if you're fishing all 9 of the... You have to fish all 9 to sign up?
Yep, all 9.
Okay, all 9 of the 2024 Bassmaster Open EQs.
Yeah, and real quick, the links that Matt will post are live links. You can go ahead and start signing up once you have signed up for the Bassmaster Open. We are in the process of making a live tab, make it easily navigable over on bestontour.net. That will be up in the next few days. But yeah, man, sign up. Sunline AFTCO wants to give you $1,000, highest finisher at each Bassmaster Opens EQ for all 9 events. Be interesting to see if people how many contingency payouts people get. Wonder if people can win more than one or how that's going to play out.
I'm going to try. Hey, here's a good question. So Will Davis he's going to be a player in this tournament. He's in the Classic already. If he's in the top 3 here, does that go to the next Elite Series spot, or will they go down to like the 4th place finisher in the nation?
I'm not obviously sure about that.
That's interesting because that could get...
Yeah, if history serves me correctly, they tend to defer to the Elite Series guys as far as one more spot down on the Elite Series because those guys have so much invested in the season. That would be That would be interesting. Who are I know Scott Martin is one of them. I'm not sure he's the next one on the list.
Was it down to 42?
I believe so.
Cole Sands. So the next one would be David Gaston, and then Scott
Gaston,
Martin.
and then Scott Martin. So
it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
how
but
that shakes
a
out.
lot of storylines there at the Bass Nation National Championship on Lake Hartwell that can play into the Classic in your backyard there at Grand Lake. So
yeah. All right, Dave, I'm going to let you go or take our final break of the show. When we come back, wrap things up for the week, and then look ahead to the next week of BTL.
All right. Thanks for having us on, Matt.
All right. See you, Dave. All right. That is Dave Rush from Best on Tour. Make sure you head over to bestontour.net. I always think it's cool that there's a fishing site that has .net because net's for fishing. But anyway, all right. We're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, wrap things up, look forward to the next week of Bass Talk Live.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Get that beast right there.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ramtail craw. Great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
All right, welcome back. Wrapping things up here on BTL. I'm putting together a pretty good show for next week. Next Monday, we have Jordan Lee coming on the show. Jordan Lee, I've enjoyed, every year I enjoy talking to Jordan Lee on the show more and more. He's got some really good perspectives. I'm going to ask him to dive into the meeting that just went down with the MLF and BPT anglers yesterday. The announcement that the field will be cut to 50 anglers in 2025. Different structure as far as what is going to be aired, the format, going back to every fish counts. A lot of changes in 2024. Also, some interesting comments on social media. You guys can go out and find all that if you want to find info and reaction to what's going on at MLF. Plenty of info and shows out there that you can watch on that. All very entertaining and a lot of different perspectives going on that. But anyway, Jordan Lee, possibly a couple more anglers coming on Monday. Then Tuesday, brand new Elite Series angler and the $1 Million Man winning it on Table Rock with Tucker. Well, that was 2 years ago now, or last year. Logan Parks. Logan Parks will be on the show. He's going to talk about like this chaos high school college fishing kind of combination hybrid deal he's got going on, and then obviously we're going to talk to him about qualifying for the Elite Series. And then on Wednesday we're going to do a U.S. Open wrap up show. As of now, kind of depending on who we can get on. Those guys are, they're out in the desert. They're kind of hard to get a hold of right now. But yeah, big shout out Casey SHEDD for jumping on the show today. Dave Rush, make sure you guys go check out the AFTCO Bass Boot Camp for 2023 and just check out AFTCO in general. Like I said, really proud to be working with them. They put their money where their mouth is and make really quality apparel, but also care about not only the anglers, but the environment, everything that goes along with that. And then also the best on tour bucks for both AFTCO and Sunline. All right, that's all we got for today. That's all we got for the week. We did 2 shows yesterday. We did Ben Milliken jump back on. He went to Disney World, and then he came back and did a live show, his first full interview, talking about qualifying for the Bassmaster Elite Series last week at the Harris Chain and the Bassmaster Open. Well worth a listen to. Very candid, kind of walks through his entire season. I would definitely say that one of the 2 biggest stories right now is a guy with 500,000 followers on social media introducing all of them to the tournament fishing world the last year on the Opens, and then taking his talents to the Bassmaster Elite Series, and then the MLF strategic plan for 2024 and the Bass Pro Tour for 2024 and beyond. But all right, this has been another edition of BTL. Talk to everybody on Monday. See ya.